Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video we're going to show you how to test a car battery. And this is a procedure that you can do yourself at home. You can use a voltmeter, and you can find this at your local auto parts stores, or any large retailer stores will have a voltmeter. And you can also use a battery tester, and these battery testers are easier to use, and we're going to go over that as well. But let's start with the voltmeter because you most likely have one of these. So one of the symptoms of a bad battery, of course, is the engine doesn't start. Sometimes the dashboard lights and the headlights turn on as well, but then the car still doesn't start. So that could be also because of a bad battery. If you have a completely dead battery, your dashboard lights and car won't even unlock. If you have a partially discharged battery, you turn on the ignition, everything turns on and looks like it's working fine, but then you go to start the engine, you might hear a click, you might hear multiple clicks, or you might not hear a click at all. That's also a symptom of a weak or discharged battery. Now those can be caused by a bad battery, but that's not always the case, because you might have a battery that's partially discharged or completely discharged, but that doesn't necessarily mean the battery needs to be replaced, because batteries are rechargeable. They get recharged once the engine starts, the alternator charges them, or you can use an external battery charger. You plug into the wall outlet in your home, and then you connect the 12-volt charger here, but that could take a few hours. So let's go ahead and get this battery tested here. First we're going to start with the voltmeter, because like we said, we probably have one of these. You can find these anywhere. And one thing to keep in mind, a lot of these symptoms that might make you also think you have a bad battery could be because of corroded or loose battery terminal. You can see that right there, that's pretty loose. So we're going to test this battery a couple of ways. So make sure you connect the black on the communication, red on input, or positive or plus, and then set it here to volt measurement, and you want to set it on this one, a straight line. This is DC. If your voltmeter doesn't have an automatic sensing voltage feature, you want to put it on 20 and then 20 volt. So go ahead and do that, and then let's put that there. The first time we're going to test this, we're going to connect these leads directly to the top of the battery post. So we're not connecting to the clamps, because if there's loose, if there's any issue, we don't want to be influenced by that. Like in this case here, we have corrosion, so we're not going to connect on the side. We're just going to go straight on top of that, and then on top of the negative. So black on negative and red on positive, and connect that, and then you can see 12.68. So you should be at 12.6 or above for a charged battery. Now if you're below that, what that means is your battery is discharged and needs to be charged. We have a chart which you should see in the guide below that shows the state of charge, and depending on the voltage, if the battery is charged or if it's discharged. And that's all it tells you, if the battery is charged or not. It doesn't really tell you if the battery is good or not. So we're going to do a test here. We're going to start the engine, and we're going to see if that drops below 10. If it drops below 10, then you have a bad battery. Okay, so we're still going to connect on the top of the post. We're not touching the clamps at all. So we're going to crank the engine, and we're going to see if that drops below 10. So we're going to connect the positive on the positive terminal right on top, and then on the negative, the black on negative here, and right on top of the post, not on the terminals, just in case there's any issue with the connections here. And now we're going to crank the engine. And now that you saw that drop down to just about 10, and then the alternator now is charging, so we're at 14, so that's good. Now we're going to try again, but this time we are going to keep our leads on the clamps here, and then on the other clamp over here. So this will tell us if there's any issue with these connections here. We're going to see that voltage there drop below 10. So let's go ahead and start the engine. Now you can see that the voltage is reading only 4.7. Look at that, 4.5. So that is very important, because here we have a loose connection, a corroded connection. Over here we got a loose one, so that's why this engine is not starting, because you have these connections here that have issues, and it's not really a bad battery. So you can see that the battery was good, but the connections are bad. So these connections are very easy. You remove them, and then you can use sandpaper to clean both the post and the inside of these clamps. So you clean this part with sandpaper, and then also the post as well, and you reconnect them. Make sure you have the battery disconnected when you do that. Just keep both terminals disconnected. So you would have this. You first start with the negative. One thing you need to be careful is that you don't want to make a short to the positive, as you could get this loose. So we remove that. Okay. Now we are going to remove this, and you can see all the corrosion here. So you clean this really good with sandpaper, and then you clean this as well. Okay, so you clean that with sandpaper, make sure there's no corrosion there. There is battery terminal cleaners, a brush that you can also use, and those are easier if you got one. But if not, you can very well use a sandpaper, it's totally fine. So that you saw there how when we measured on the clamps we got really low voltage, and you think that the battery is bad. That's not what the problem is. So that's why it's important, because we tested the battery beforehand, because we tested right on top of the post, and we were getting good reading, and it was holding above 10 even though when we cranked the engine. But then when we measure on the clamps, you see we're reading only about 5 volts. So next, I'm going to use this battery tester, and these are very easy. So what you'll do is you'll connect this on the clamp. Ideally, if you can make good contact to the top of the post like that, that will be even better. And you can see that as well. Okay, and then you can see here we're reading 12.5 volts. Alright, so press OK. Out of vehicle? No, we're going to say in vehicle. In vehicle. And it says before charge or after charge. Engine was running. This car just came in here to the shop, so we're going to say after charge, because you could charge that with a charger, or if you know that the car has been running, it should be charged as well. So let's say after charge. Regular flooded. If you look at the battery, this is regular flooded, means lead acid battery as well. So if you got these holes here that are used for filling, then you know that you have a lead acid battery. If you don't have any caps on top at all, then you have an AGM battery, and most of the newer cars now use AGM batteries, and the older German like Mercedes, BMW, Porsche and so on use AGM batteries as well. But here we have set cold cranking amps. Look at the top of the battery, you should have a CCA rating. If it does not, average is 650, so you can go with that. You might be off a little bit on when it shows us health of the battery, might be slightly off, but it will still be able to test if you got a good battery or not. Press OK, and then here we're testing, and you can see here it says good battery. So here this is 540, that's the cranking amps. SOC, that's a state of charge, 80% charged battery. State of health, so the health of the battery is at 70%. So you can see this battery has been used for some time, so it's not a brand new battery. So that's there, will tell you, and that's important. Remember, if our cold cranking amp is slightly off, so we put 650 because that's average, but if this battery, for example, CCA is 700 or 600, that is a state of health will be slightly off. That's why that's important, but at least you get the idea. This is a good battery, and in this case, as you can see, we're making contact right on top of the battery. You can repeat the test if you'd like, and just go on the clamps, make on the make contact on the clamps, not on the post at all, and you can repeat the test and see if the battery will still show as good battery or not. So if it doesn't, then you know you have issue with these connections here and you need to clean them up really good. And that's it. Thank you for watching.